Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christy with Ahn Co. I'm going to go over the grain markets with you. It is Thursday, January 10th. It was an ugly day when you look at these grain markets. It all kind of started with some estimates out of Brazil from CONAB coming in at 118.8 million metric ton production for Brazil soybeans. So you've had all these estimates that you're going to see some crop failure out of Brazil just due to heat and stress. You've seen those reductions. And yes, you're seeing some bigger reductions, but they had some lofty numbers to start in there in the first place. So with CONAB's number, that's actually only about a half to 1 million metric ton decrease from last year's production levels. So really very close, still having a great year. They just had very lofty expectations in there to start the year off, just how early it got in there, all the moisture they had been working with. And so really that kind of shook the market, gave it a little bit of a tipping point. You also had another private estimate out with mid 117 million metric tons. So you're starting to find kind of a range fine tune, and it's just not that far off from last year. And when you look at the big picture for South America, Argentina had major growing problems last year. Granted, it is early in their growing season, but they're coming in with a lot of moisture right now. So last year they had a big reduction in their production that if you come into a normal growing season here in Argentina, you could be seeing about a 15 to a 20 million metric ton increase in production compared to last year. So when you look at South America as a whole, you should still be seeing an increase in production compared to last year. And then you look at the difficulties we are dealing with right now, it was just enough to tip those soybeans, and a lot of sellers came out of the woodwork. It's also healthy to see setbacks when you look at these markets that have been kind of on a run lately, and that is soybeans and the wheat market. So soybean market down over 17 cents, and wheat market really tried to fend off that selling pressure but couldn't do it, closing down anywhere from 6 to 7 cents. And corn market just got stuck between soybeans and wheat being negative, closing down 5 3/4. You're now close to that support line that we've kind of bounced off a couple different times in the corn market. We're stuck in a rut here when you look at the corn market with lack of information from USDA, CFTC with the partial government shutdown. So we're just not getting a lot of information, and really that China-US trade talk premium is slowly leaking out of this market because, yeah, we've heard that it was optimistic tone into these discussions. Yes, it was extended a day. Yes, they're positive out of it. Yes, that China is supposed to come in here and buy a substantial amount of product from the US, but we haven't seen that yet. And granted, USDA won't announce a private sale because of a partial government shutdown, but we aren't seeing really basis levels reflect off that as well. So there's just not a whole lot to bite off for the bull right now, and with that, finding some selling pressure. Outside markets and meat markets were both very quiet today. Not typical for those outside markets, but they just didn't do a whole lot, waiting to see what we have to do with a partial government shutdown. And meat markets, live cattle slightly positive, feeders mixed, lean hogs were positive on front months, but deferred slightly lower, but really overall very quiet trade when you look at those. Moving forward, tomorrow was supposed to be our big USDA crop report that we have where you finalize production numbers for the US. We are not going to see that with the partial government shutdown, and so really it's just a waiting game until we get that. Also be watching models as they do have the chance for precipitation coming in January 20th into Brazil and moving forward, and so everyone's going to be watching that to see if that confirms itself. I do have to close with a disclaimer: trading in futures and options involves risk loss and is not suitable for all producers. Have a great day.